And looks like we have started. It's really hard sometimes just to understand when you start, and it's pretty crazy. But good morning. Well, it's good afternoon now, isn't it?
Good afternoon, David. How are you?
I got so many things going on right now in my life, and I'm doing fine. I'm accomplishing them.
Good. That's
So,
great. I wish I had that same level of optimism.
well, you do know that I think I've told you that when I leave, I'm going to Dallas for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And when I leave, I am not, excuse me, returning to this apartment.
You got some cleanup to do then there.
What do you mean?
Well, if you got to pack up all your stuff.
Oh, I to that point, I am 95% packed and ready to go. So,
good for you.
Well,
Good
I've been I work an hour a day doing stuff, and that's the only way I'm going to get it done. So, and the other thing is, now I am packing up and throwing away about 15 years of accumulation.
Oh,
And
I am a pack rat. I that would be very traumatic for me if I had to do that.
It could be traumatic if I let it be that, but I can't. Well, welcome, and I'm very excited because as you and I have shared, Project 10,000 is our major focus for 2025. And you are actually the very first recording that I'm doing for Project 10,000.
I'm flattered. I'm
honored being the first.
Okay.
But I have a question for you before we get into our conversation. And if I say something, I didn't tell you this beforehand, but I wanted this to be a conversation. If you want to challenge me on something or question me, please do. I love it.
Okay. Bring it on.
So I didn't realize something until I looked at the email that you sent yesterday to me that your jurisdiction is Southern Ohio. And now how do you define Southern Ohio?
Well, if you look at a map of the state of Ohio, the bottom two rows of counties, all the way from Indiana, well, it goes into Indiana, but all the way over to the West Virginia border, belong to the Cincinnati BBB in terms of providing service to the businesses and the consumers in that area.
So that includes Athens, Meigs County?
Not Athens, no, that's one level up. It's Jackson, Scioto, Pike, Lawrence, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something out there.
And then you just mentioned that you also have jurisdiction over Northern Kentucky.
Yes, we have the 3 counties in Northern Kentucky, Kenton, Campbell, and I'm just, help me here, Kenton, Campbell, and what's the other county there? Okay, the 3 counties at the top.
There are 3 counties there. We know that for a fact.
Yeah, and then we have 5 Indiana counties.
That's interesting. So in terms of what you do, does the fact that you operate in 3 states have any kind of impact on what you do based upon laws of those states? And
absolutely, we have to follow the laws of the state, and whatever their consumer protection laws are, they are different from state to state, and what industries might be impacted differently. When they have the laws on cannabis and selling and medical marijuana and all of that, when that first occurred probably 3 years ago, we had different regulations that we had to adhere to and different responses that we had to be able to provide to consumers and to businesses as to what they can anticipate from their own state and what is legal and what isn't legal. Not that we were acting as lawyers, we were just saying, in Kentucky, you can do this. And in Ohio, you can do the other. And in Indiana, you can't do any of it. Just as an example.
Are you telling me something else new, that you are an attorney?
No, I am not an attorney. I have, yes.
But I'm sure you have an attorney on staff, for sure.
We do not have an attorney.
Really?
No.
Interesting.
No. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
But we try to stay abreast of the changes in the consumer laws as much as possible. We don't give legal advice, but when it's written on a piece of paper, we can read it back just like anybody else.
So let's talk about business 2025, business trust, business value and business trust. That environment is changing dramatically. And you and I have had a little bit of discussion about that with the impact of AI technology. It's creating new business models. Every single day, there's new business models. And that's a little scary to me in that a small business person, they do whatever they do to create whatever business model that they have. And now AI potentially threatens that because they can get the information and say, okay, here's that. It's a very confused state, which
I definitely agree it's a confused state, but businesses should not feel threatened by AI. They should proceed cautiously, of course, but they should embrace AI because there are levels of efficiency that can be gained by AI. There can be evolution of their business by using AI, and they have to be open to that AI is going to take over, if you will.
Going to take over?
Well, has taken over, okay? And businesses need to embrace that, but like they've embraced all change throughout the business cycle, if you will.
Well, the one thing that I feel, I might be totally wrong, but the one thing I feel about the changing business environment is that the value, it creates a more level playing field. I absolutely believe that. There are efficiencies to AI that businesses must embrace, but I'm talking about just the way they do business or what their business objectives are. It's going to be a more challenging place, but the thing that is going to be missing, and that's the opportunity that I am trying to play upon, is the trust. What trust? Why should the community? Why should the public trust you? Why should the public trust your business? I mean, talk to me about it. How do you build that trust? And that obviously is the main concern of the Better Business Bureau. And I am proud to say I have been an accredited business of the Cincinnati Better Business Bureau since 2010. And there's a couple of years where I wasn't as active because I was doing more cyberspace kinds of things than I was, on the ground, if you will. That raises another question. How has the internet, cyberspace, changed the way that you perform? I mean, it's
Oh my. Okay. First of all, thank you for being an accredited business. I see 2 of your certificates, 3 of them, 4 of them back behind you there. Thank you for your support, because it is the support of businesses that allows BBBs to continue to do what we do.
Let me interrupt just for a second about the support issue. As a publisher, I've been a publisher for 53 years. I have to build value, or people aren't going to read or view whatever I do. And the trust issue, they have to trust the source of the information. So that's how I've approached it myself. But I'm sorry, continue, please.
So I think I've forgotten the question.
Well, when
Because
we were
you
talking
put
about how the
17
internet has
questions into
changed,
how the
the
internet
internet
has changed what we do. Uh, it has just expanded everything that we have to check, if you will, when we are looking at a business, when we are vetting them for accreditation, when we are looking at a business that might be a possible business that we would not recommend people do business with. You know, back in the day when I first started, we reviewed the newspaper every single day looking for false advertising. That was doable. You know, it was a newspaper and it had 20 pages and we could review those. Now a business by definition is on the internet and they are advertising everywhere in every kind of way, directly on their website, through Facebook, through LinkedIn, through you name it, TikTok, etc. And as the Better Business Bureau, if we are determining whether or not you are a business that businesses or that other businesses can trust, your vendors, your banker, your insurance company, or your consumers can trust, we have to do our due diligence and scope out the internet and see, how are you promoting yourself? Are you promoting yourself ethically and responsibly? And if you aren't, then we will contact you and say, hey, we saw this ad that you have up there and we have some concerns about it.
So
Now, if you can imagine us doing it across the spectrum of the internet, that's quite a responsibility.
when you talk about, you have to examine social media, see what is being said on social media by consumers or by the business themselves. That has to be, oh my goodness.
We have
you're doing it or not me.
Yeah, people on staff that is their sole job, is to do that kind of research and that in-depth study of a business.
Well, I have to tell you, I've worked with probably a half a dozen of your staff members, and I've been very impressed with how they operate, and I've been very you're a fellow I've been working with a couple of times on technology. He's really good. I forget his name. Andrew or
Ian?
Andrew.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I've worked with him on a couple of things, and he's really good.
Okay.
But let's step back for a moment. One question that I love to ask folks as we're having conversation, and this goes way back. I'm all about celebrating business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a third generation small business owner, and so business was a 24/7, 365 part of my life, our life, and so I celebrate it. And I'm kind of curious, when in your life did you determine that you wanted to celebrate business or make business a part of what you do? When did that happen?
Very early on, pretty much right after I got out of college. I got a position at the Better Business Bureau as a mediation and arbitration specialist. It was a brand new position, and it was a position that was being created across the Better Business Bureau system, across all of the United States, and across all of the United States, although BBBs are in Canada as well. It was an outgrowth of a consent agreement between the federal government and General Motors. And in that consent agreement, the government required that General Motors write a third-party mediation arbitration mechanism into the order, so that any consumer that had a dispute with General Motors, and believe me, I remember this, on transmissions and camshafts and lifters in 305 and 350 diesel engines and O-rings, could file a complaint, and the consumer could request up to the repurchase of their vehicle. That was groundbreaking, absolutely groundbreaking. And to get in at that basic level of that program. And that was back in the day before we had computers in our office. So I'm the one person that's doing this and handwriting complaint form after complaint form after complaint form. I was in the office many nights until 10 at night, but it was still exciting. It was a lot of work, but it was exciting. And developing the relationships with the manufacturers' reps from GM and understanding the various problems. And they took us in and they educated the BBB people who were doing this on all kind of, and it wasn't just with those particular problems, transmissions, camshafts, and lifters, et cetera. Any problem could become fodder for this program. Paint problems, tire problems, you name it. We could address it with General Motors, and they would attempt to resolve it. If they couldn't resolve it, then by law, they had to allow their consumers to participate in mediation or arbitration. And just for your listeners who might not understand the difference, mediation is where two parties are at a level where they can have a conversation and negotiate themselves a solution with a mediator to help guide them have that conversation. In arbitration, it's like a court of law. You present your side of the story, the other person presents their side of the story, and the arbitrator will make a decision. And in this case, it's not based on law. It was always based on what could a reasonable consumer expect out of this situation. So it could be fix the car or buy it back or something in between, reimburse them for repairs they had. Anyway, I just got hooked at that point and loved the give and take of this whole process and bringing these people together and resolving problems. It was what fanned the flame, if you will.
I'd love to listen to what you're saying. I personally have acted as a mediator, not formally, informally, between businesses. I'm a third party, and I listen. And after you've been in business for as long as I have, you understand basic principles and how the consumer should be treated. And this wasn't necessarily a mediation between the business and the consumer. This was more a mediation between two businesses. The two businesses had some kind of disagreement, and so I was able to step in, and I've got a pretty good track record. Maybe I should apply for a job at okay.
Yeah, so all of this was done by volunteers, community volunteers. And honest to goodness, we have a number of those volunteers still active in the arbitration program some 30 years later, because they are that committed to helping out their community.
And it sounds kind of like when folks become a SCORE mentor, they're doing it because of the love of business and mentoring other businesses about challenges that they have in their business. Okay, so when did you formally join the Better Business Bureau?
A long time ago. That's all I'm going to tell you. I became CEO in '98. I'll give you that.
So has it always been the Cincinnati market, greater Cincinnati market?
What, me in this market? Yes, I've always been here. I started out of college, and it's been a journey ever since. Every day is different. It's great.
Just out of curiosity, what did you major in college?
Got my BA in psychology and my master's in business.
Wonderful. Wow, psychology is what it's all about. Understanding and studying human behavior. That's what I have to do. I don't have a degree in psychology. I have never taken a business course or a marketing course. I'm definitely a product of the streets. My clients have taught me everything that I know just by communicating what you need, what needs to happen, and that's how I built it. But I've done it without a business degree, and maybe that's a good thing. That I look at it in a different perspective. Well, I look at it from practical experience. What's happening and what goes on, and we're definitely in a new phase right now. There's no question in my mind.
But if you look at companies that are doing are posting job positions these days, back in the day, it was, we expect you to have 3 to 5 years of, experience and a college degree in this or the other. They don't mention college degrees anymore. That's passé. They're just looking for experience. They don't care how you got it. They want you to be street smart, if you will.
Which is way more important.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's what's happening. It's what's happening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not what you read in the textbook.
Exactly.
Let me share a story with you that relates to this. My oldest son, when he was in his freshman year in college, he said he called me up and he said, "Dad, would you mind if I changed my major?" And I said, "Well," and he went to college really to become a graphic designer.
Mm-hmm.
He was self-taught. And I said, "Well, no, I mean, what's on your mind?" He said, "Well, I want to change my degree to marketing." And I had to laugh. I said, "Jordan, marketing and sales is the only thing I know. I've been doing it, so that'll be fun." How much fun would it be if someday you and I could have a business venture together and see where we could go with it? And
Mm-hmm.
and the third part was, I said, "Okay, you were going to have, because you were going to get the academic approach study, and I don't have it. When you take a test, you're going to share that test with me. You're going to give me your answer from the textbook, and I'll share with you my answer from the street."
Mm-hmm.
And we did it for a year. We actually did that for a year, and right now he is senior vice president of strategy, senior vice president of strategy of the only company he's ever worked for right out of college. And
amazing.
It really is an amazing story. And obviously, I turned to him. He's been responsible for changing some of my marketing strategy. Absolutely. He said, "Dad, I think you ought to be doing this." I said, "Well, let's talk about it. Let's build a plan. Let's do it. Let me get a return on my investment of your college education." So it's we're in a state where, and I'm really glad that the Better Business Bureau exists. I'm really glad, as you are, because there's, well, we're seeing. I hate to reference it, but in the election 2024, how AI is creating things that aren't necessarily true, and how do you check that? And it's a mess. It's a mess. And so, thank you for the work that the Better Business Bureau does.
We are working very hard to help consumers and businesses address AI responsibly and to be critical of AI. There are so many ways, and you referenced the election as to how AI can be used in a not so pleasant way, not so appropriate way. And we, as the Better Business Bureau, need to help set the guardrails. What should be best practices in using AI? And consumers, people, let's not even talk about consumers, people need to know when AI is being used. It's really getting harder and harder every day to differentiate. Is that AI or is that just good graphics? We need to play a role there. And
you raise a great point, because every single day I see 25, 30, 40 examples. I know that AI is being used. I can just tell how it's structured and what is being said. And it's well, and that's why what I'm trying to do, it validates what I'm trying to do. Okay, AI does all this. It creates whatever business model one might have, but how should we trust that model? Do we trust that model?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me, share why we should trust that model. And so one of the things I wanted to share publicly, and I've kind of alluded to it in conversations that you and I have had, that what was it that I wanted to say? They have too many things going on. That what I am doing, I have created a system, and Project 10,000 is a system, and I want to. That system can be installed, if you will, in any of the 387 markets in the United States, but there will only be one of our systems in that market, one at a time. And there's a standard price tag. Well, I'm not. I published that number. It costs, a company will have to invest $50,000 to have that system in their market under our program. However, I am very, very proud and happy to say that of that $50,000 fee, a contribution will be made to the Better Business Bureau Students of Integrity Scholarship Fund in the amount of $7,500 of each one of those $50,000 installations. And I couldn't believe when I heard that you have a program, Students of Integrity. We must start. It's a great place to start with students who are thinking about business, going into business, and not only are we going to make that donation, but in each market, I am going to have at least one session, and I call it an open room technology. I'm not going to call it Zoom because it's not going to be Zoom, but it's that nature, and it will be for students only. Only students can come in and participate, and I will be working with whomever has installed the system in that market. We will be working together to mentor the students on business value and business trust. And I'm so excited about that aspect of it, because I've been doing that kind of thing for a long time, and if we can start with students before they make that leap, because doing business, being in business, providing service, it's as noble a profession as anything there is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really encouraged by students who want to explore more and find out what it's all about. So that's going to happen also. So that's what I wanted to share today. I will look to you to say, David, I think you should be doing this with what, because together we can create a very strong presence in any of the 387 metropolitan statistical areas that there are in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would also offer this up, David, that for your listeners, the Cincinnati BBB will be opening up its scholarship, but it is only for students in our service area about the middle of January. If students from other areas of the country are listening to this, or their parents or neighbors or whatever,
which they will,
direct students to check with their local Better Business Bureau to see if they have a scholarship program. Not all do, many do. and find out when those applications will be open and apply for scholarship. It's generally for seniors in high school, and it's an opportunity. Our particular scholarship is an ethics-based prompt, and they have to write an essay addressing the ethical situation. We are looking for knowing what ethics is and the ability to integrate ethics into their life. And in our particular case, we do not look at academics. We do not look at extracurriculars. We are solely focused on the student's ability to understand how ethics is critical in their life.
And did I understand you to say that you are the first BBB in the country to do that, or there?
No. Our application for 2025 opens in early January. So if you're in our service area, about January 20th, go to our website at bbb.org/Cincinnati, and you will be able to find the application there.
I'm going to go look. That's wonderful, and I will be promoting that, marketing that as much as I possibly can.
Fabulous. Appreciate it. And in our case, it is for any student. It doesn't matter. You could be applying for a vocational school, an associate's degree, or a bachelor's degree. We just want students who understand and value ethics.
Wow. Well, do they? I would hope that in college there are business ethics courses. Am I right? Or
there are. We used to work very closely with UC, and we created their ethics course a few years ago, and then COVID hit, and that kind of went by the boards. But
you must know a friend of mine, Chuck Matthews.
I was not directly involved in that. Some of my staff people were, so I'm sure
he actually started the entrepreneurship program at UC 26 years ago. And he and I have been live streaming for over 10 years. We haven't done it for a while, but we did our first one 10 years ago. And I was actually we started in his office. Then he invited me to come into his classroom for Global Entrepreneurship Week one year. And so I'm very familiar, and while I'm offering my services any way I might be able to help you in any of that, count me in. I will absolutely do it.
Very much appreciate that. Very much.
And the other thing I'd like to offer up for your thoughts, I heard a couple times at the annual meeting, as the various folks were presenting their reports, that there is a need to communicate
the value proposition.
And so I would like to have, I've created an open room kind of environment. I would offer that up to the Cincinnati Better Business Bureau, and it'll just be a time to interact, and a lot of things will happen. One of the outcomes of that will be that I'll pick 3 folks, and I will then I'll do one of my 19-minute marketing, sales, value, trust stories with them. But they have to come to the meeting. We have to have this interaction, and so anytime you want me to do that, I'm available.
Thank you.
I'm available. So I want to thank you for your time today. Just you actually you don't realize it, but you have been a motivating force for me because of what I am doing, and I know that I'm doing the right thing after I've had my interaction with you, and I want to thank you for you and the Better Business Bureau and the mission, the mission of the Better Business Bureau, because it's more important today, I think, than it's ever been.
Well, you hit on the mission, so let's remind your listeners, the mission of the Better Business Bureau is a marketplace where buyers and sellers can trust each other. That's what we're aiming to do every day.
And so we need to do those things to build the trust. And one way to do it, bottom line, is a video like you and I are having. That's how you build trust. I mean, I've got over 2,500 hours on YouTube of entrepreneurship and small business and marketing and sales. And so that's how you can trust me, because I'm out there. I've been doing it, and I'm very transparent, as they say.
Yeah, well, keep on doing what you're doing and helping us spread the word.
Okay, well, thank you for your time today. And at any time, if you want to capture the platform, let me know, and we'll have another conversation.
Oh, you might regret what you wish for, my friend.
I know that I will not regret. That okay. I will not regret.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for bringing me to the table.
Well, you do good work in the world, and the world needs to know about it.
Thank you. Have a good day and enjoy your Thanksgiving with your family.
Oh, I will. Thank you very much, Giselle.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.